Hi everyone, I'm Paul with MadCap Software. IFrames. Let's talk about IFrames in this video today. All right, so in general, some output automatically comes with these frames. So for example, if you generated some HTML5 tri-pane output, it's sort of the old school look, and you get these frames, these segments in there. So in the actual code, you would look in there and you'd see these frames and these iframe tags. All right. But if you generated other kinds of outputs, HTML5 top navigation or side navigation, you're going to generate the output, and it might look like there's frames, these distinct, rectangles and squares in there, but it's not. You don't get these frame and iframe tags in your output. And a lot of people really prefer that because it makes it easier for web crawlers to go through your stuff, find things, you end up with a better search experience for your end users. All right, so whether you are creating some output that already has frames built in or not, you can also manually insert iframes, because maybe in general you wanted this frameless output, but maybe there are some places where you want to inject some iframes. And this is typically used when you've got a topic and you want to display something, some other file. And it's typically another website, but it could be another kind of page that is actually part of your project too. So it could be a remote website, or it could be something in your project and you're displaying it in this frame. And so actually, if you create a brand new Flare project from one of our e-learning project templates in Flare, you're actually going to see an example of that. And let's go in and just take a quick look so that you can see the end result, what we're talking about. So in the output for this e-learning project template, you're going to come across this page. It says iframe, and we're just giving you an example of it. You can get the idea really quickly in here what this is about. This is the iframe, and this content. It's actually coming from this Wikipedia web page, but it's in its own little window in here, and people can click and scroll through it. And so it's just kind of a nice way to display other content that isn't in that topic. All right, so that's what we're talking about here. Now, I mentioned HTML5 output. HTML5 supports these iframes. Also, clean XHTML, if you happen to be generating that supports it too. There's also Web Help and Web Help Plus, but you don't want those. Those are going to go away sometime in the future. Other outputs, they don't support them. So that's what you're looking at here. Now, what I'm going to cover in this video, in the next section, I'm going to show you, and this is very easy, how to create these iframes. And then we'll go into how to edit them, meaning how to edit them at that location where you insert them, or maybe control things through the style sheet. And then we're going to finish up with some things to consider if you decide to implement iframes into your projects. So we're going to create some iframes in this movie, and let's actually go into one of these Flare projects that's based on one of the e-learning templates. So let's just look at that, and we'll use that and create some additional iframes. So this is my project, and this one is from the e-learning and PDF project template, which means that it is set up to create online e-learning courses as well as PDF output. But of course, you don't have to be doing e-learning to create iframes. It's just, this is a particular template where we have the example. And I'm going to open up this topic right here, and you're going to see it. So I've just got some regular text in here. Don't worry about these sections that have the text that has the conditions on them, the colored backgrounds. That's what those are. Those are conditions. It's this thing down at the bottom, this gray rectangle, and that also has a condition on it, but that's beside the point. This is what you're inserting, and in the output, it's going to be replaced with what you just saw, whatever you point it to. So to create an iframe is really, really easy. I'm just going to come down here to a blank line, and I'm going to come up to the insert ribbon, and then it is over here, way over here on the right, iframe. You click that, And now you want to put in your source. What is it going to be? So let's actually do a couple of examples here. Let's say I just want to point to another topic in the project. So I'm going to click that, and then I just go find it. Let's just say I want to open up one of these knowledge check topics in here. Click OK. Now I can give it a size. So I can give it a size right here locally, or as I'm going to show you in the next section, you can control this through your style sheet. But let's just leave the default. I'm going to show you what the default looks like. It's actually relatively small, so you might not like it. You probably want to control your own size for these things. So I'm going to click OK. And let's also put a heading or just some text above this so we know that what we put in here, local topic. All right. And let us also come down here and let's add another line and let's do a website. So we're going to insert another one now, remote to a website. By the way, going back up here to the local topic, this is going to work as long as that topic that you're linking to, in this case, it was this one right here. You got to make sure that that is included in your output. So you don't have it conditioned out, or in your target, let's say this is our target right here, our HTML5 target. We got 3 of them in here, but let's just choose this one and go to the advanced tab. Another way to exclude things is this field right here, content to include. And by default, it's all content, but you can limit things in here. So you just want to make sure that your content is available to be displayed, because if it's not included in the output, that iframe's not going to display it, right? All right, so next, let's look at the website. And I actually have this link down here. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to use this website. And let's go up here. Let's click right there. And again, iframe. This time I'm going to put in that. And this time, let's actually control the size of the thing. And so I selected length. All right. So now I need to put in, what are the specifications? And let's say I want to make this one 600 pixels wide. And let's go over here. And let's set this one to, let's just make it 500, okay? And we click OK, and there we go. All right, so that's how easy it is. And let's actually generate the output real quickly here and see how it looks. See the difference between these. So I want you to see the default size and see how each of these looks. Okay, it is done. Let's open this up. I'm going to quickly go through to that page. All right, so I just navigated forward to that page, and you can see this is my local topic in here, and this is not very big, right? It's got the content in there for that topic, but it's really truncated here because I didn't give it any, big size. Whereas the website, I specifically put in a website size for the width and the height, and that's exactly what it gave me. So this content is just that website, whatever it is, and people can go in and scroll through it. It's the same thing, just like this one down here, which looks like about the same size as that one. All right, so that is really quickly how easy it is to create these things. It can just be done in a flash. But what we want to do next is look at editing these things. You've inserted one. How do you go in and edit it? Maybe you want to do something in your style sheet to make sure these are all the same size. So we've got some iframes. Let's take a look at how you edit them once you've inserted them. All right, so you can edit these locally, or you can do so through a style sheet. And normally we recommend the style sheet, but let's look at both. So first of all, we've inserted these, and let's say that I decide I want to make a change with this one, and I just right click and select Edit iframe, brings up the exact same dialog that you saw when you first inserted it. You can change the source, the width, the height. That's it. That's it. And we left this one set to the default. And maybe you're going, oh, that was way too small. I want to change the width and the height. So you could change it in here. We're actually going to go change it in the style sheet though. So we're not going to make any changes at this time in this dialog. So let's cancel out of this. In fact, I'm going to open up these other iframes and I'm going to change these back to the default, right? Both of these down here. All right, they're still pointing to their original source. And there we go. All right, so now they're all default. If I were to generate them all now, they'd all be that really small size. But let's set a uniform size on these. So I'm going to right click any one of these because they're all using the iframe tag. And I'm going to select, instead of edit iframe, I'm going to come down to style class, edit style class. It's going to open up my style sheet. I like to work in the advanced view. You can just do more things in there, and that's what I'm on. It selects iframe automatically. That's what we want to change. And it's gray, which means there's nothing set on it. And it's inheriting from this style sheet that's located where you installed Flare. But we're going to change that. And you can see over on the right side, I've got all these settings in here. So right now it's filtered to show all the properties. I could limit it, but there's nothing in that one. And so maybe all properties is the easiest way to find this. Right now it's in grouped view. I could go to alphabetical view if I wanted, if I think, oh, it's easier to find that. If you know what you're looking for, sometimes it's easier in group view. And I'm just going to use group view in this on this example. Now you can see there's all kinds of things you could change in here, but some make sense, some don't for an iframe. You're not going to change the font, but you might go in and change margins or border or something like that on this. So we're just going to stick with the width and the height just to show what is most common. And width and height are here in this box category. There's height, and width is down below. And I'm not talking about minimum height, minimum width, maximum height, maximum width. Those are different. Those are down below in another category. We want to do the same things that we saw in that dialog, height and width. So I'm just going to click in here and I'm going to type 600 pixels for this one, come down to width, click in there, and let's do 800 pixels and click off. And my frame is now dark over here because we have something set in our style sheet. I'm going to click save, and you're not going to see too much that's different in here, except you are seeing, oh, this is bigger now, right? In my topic, that is showing what the size is actually going to be. So I'm going to actually build this output. And let's take a look at it again, and we'll compare it to what we had before, the other output with the other sizes that we had. So the output's done. I'm going to open this, and I'm going to use the navigation at the bottom here and just quickly go to that topic. It's here in just a couple, and it's right there. All right, so there is that first one that's pointing to this other topic in here. And you can see it's way bigger than it was by comparison. It was that big. You can see how these others were smaller, right? But now they're all the same size in here, right? Uniform. Okay, so that's probably most likely what you're going to want to change when you're editing iframes. All right, so that's going to do it for creating these and editing these. But in the next section, I just quickly want to go over a few things for you to consider when you're using iframes. Okay, when you are dealing with iframes in MadCap Flare, a couple of things to keep in mind here. Number one, if you are linking to an external website, you need to test it to make sure that it's going to come up and display correctly, because some websites have security settings on them, and they're not going to allow you to display that in your output, in your iframe. Now, let's go back to the output and to Flare and take a look and see what happens here. So in the output, all of these opened up fine. This first one was from my own project, so there was no problem there because it was, I had access to it. This one is to Austin, tourism website, and this one came up fine. This one down here is to a Wikipedia page. That one came up fine. But that doesn't mean it's always going to work. So if I went back in here, all right, and let's go and let's change like this middle one, the website one. Let's do edit frame. And this time, let's change this to something that I don't think is going to come up. Let's do austinzoo.org. And I'm going to keep all the rest of the same settings. And I'm going to save this and let's build that thing. And you're going to see that when we view that page, it's not coming up, and it's just that's that website. So that could happen for you as well. You think that everything's all good, and yeah, I'm going to incorporate this thing into my output, and it just doesn't work, right? And you're going to get this, and nobody wants to see that. So it's very important that you feel very secure in whatever you're pointing to, and that it doesn't have any settings that are preventing this from being displayed. That's one thing I wanted to bring up. The other thing I wanted to bring up is I mentioned that this particular project. Let me get rid of some of this content in here to reduce it. And this is from the e-learning and PDF project template. So if I just use the main or the other e-learning project template that didn't have PDF in it, this would look a little bit different. You wouldn't have both of these paragraphs. You would have this paragraph right here, but it wouldn't have the condition on it, and this wouldn't be here at all, and this wouldn't be conditioned. The iframe wouldn't be conditioned. The reason why I did this is because, again, this iframe, the iframe stuff isn't supported in all outputs. So if I'm generating PDF from this, well, I need to make other plans. And so I have these conditions in this project. These are set up, and this one is set for online only. This one's set for print only, blue and red. And so I thought, okay, I only want them to see this text if it's in online output. So I went and I set that condition on it, and I set the print condition on this, and I set the online condition on the iframe. So in the print version, I just have text and I have a link, just a plain hyperlink, which will work in PDF. So it's just one of those things you need to consider when you're creating certain kinds of features. You need to ask yourself, is this going to be supported in all of the output types that I want to generate? So just wanted to give you an idea of why this topic looks different from the topic in the other project template. That's basically it. But iframes, otherwise, pretty simple. All right, that's it, boys and girls. iframes, very cool little feature that may be for you, it may not be for you, but you can see it's very, very simple. I would just encourage you to control the look of them with styles, as I always do, instead of locally. And just keep in mind the output formats that you're generating, and know what you're getting when you generate that output. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you next time.